let's start where we left off, which is creating this. All right. Yeah, so let's add some jQuery and see how that goes. So I just wrote down what I thought was important from the jQuery class that you, jQuery website that you guys learned a thing or two at. And I just want to be sure that I'm going over this. Okay, so yeah, so the functionalities that we want to add can literally be anything. So if it feels random, that may be because, well, it could be. Yeah, it's more to show you guys the concepts. So let's say the simplest example is when you click on the buy now, you get a phone number. That's also what you had in the jQuery video, right? So that basically means that whenever a button is pressed, or a button with a class is pressed, but we don't have other buttons, so we can say when a button is pressed, then you need to change. So first, always use the document.ready part in jQuery. And it looks like this. This can go because we know it's linked. So when the document is ready, well, we can say if a button is clicked. So you can say click, but I always prefer the on because then you have more control. It's more generic. On click. I think you get an event with it. I'm not totally sure. I'm just gonna console log to make sure. Not sure if you get an event, right? So on click jQuery. No, this one. You get an event. Events even. So events is a string. Oh, that's what I need to supply. Okay, so you don't event selector data handler. Oh wait, here. No, here we have it. Handler. So as you can see in documentation, the documentation is a bit vague or weird. Documentation works better once you already have some experience with stuff. But so basically, how you should read the documentation is the square brackets are optional parameters that you can have. So currently, the click you see here is the events part. Like it already says, it's type string. Well, you can see this is string. It's one or more space separate event types and optional namespaces such as click or key down dot my plugin. So you could click and maybe just mouse over, and then this would be the second type of event. Mouse over, I remember that it exists. Handler, and we don't have a selector or data, but we do have a handler, which is a type function, which is what we have. And function must have the event object called event, and then anything Extra parameter, interesting. A function to execute when the event is triggered. The value of false is allowed as a shorthand for a function that simply does return false. Okay, so the last part doesn't really matter, but this is valid. And the event object should be there. So we're gonna test that. So if you ask yourself, why can I put this here? I can also call this YOLO, or I can call this John. But the point is, according to the documentation, when you do it this way, you should get an event object of type event. This is a type that the creators of jQuery, I think themselves made. Yeah, see, so jQuery's event system normalizes the event object according to W3C standards, the biggest organization of controlling the internet. I think W3C, what does it stand for again? Just World Wide Web Consortium? Yeah, World Wide Web Consortium. Yeah, so the reason I'm allowed to do it is because they say that when you do this, you are allowed to have this parameter. So that basically means that in their implementation of the on function, they basically have what they would call a callback. I'm not sure if I explained callbacks to you guys. If I didn't, then just believe this is true. But if you understand what callbacks are, then they basically means they're calling this function. So this function that I'm supplying here, they are calling it somewhere in their library code with the on function. And they are passing it an argument here, which is the event. So that's why we have it. Anyways, let's see if it works. So refresh. Yep, even the mouse over, see? So you see it does both. I'm gonna delete the mouse over, but I just wanted to make you guys, yeah, wanted to show you difference. Alright, so let's look at the click. Does it have a target? Yes, it does. Target button. Okay, so now we are gonna replace the button, or maybe not. Maybe we are gonna add a tooltip. Yeah, so you could actually do the mouse over. So what we're gonna say is if it mouse over, we're gonna show tooltip, and if you actually click it, something's gonna change. So event.type. So I think if you type in event.type, yeah, then you just see the mouse over. So then you can say if event.type equals mouse over, do something. Else if event.type equals click, click, do something else, right? So so when it mouse over, we want to show a tooltip. I remember that you can do this with a library called jQuery UI, also made by the jQuery people. Download. Download builder. Awesome. So you can go to demos and then as you can see. So yeah, that's basically what the tooltip is. and then you can check at the view source to see how they have done this. Okay, so let us install jQuery UI. I think it should be here then. Let's see edit. jQuery UI CSS, style CSS, then jQuery UI. Yeah, so wait, I just have it in there. So I can just download it like this, I suppose. Yeah, it's easier. Okay, download it like this. jQuery project, jQuery. Okay, so now I have it. So then I can load it in source.js jQuery UI.js. But I also saw they have jQuery UI.css. Yeah, I noticed that they didn't do HTTPS. Okay. CSS. And I can load that in here. Do they use Bootstrap? Probably they don't. So that means I can load it in above Bootstrap, or let's load it in here. CSS. Not sure if this is the right best place. I think so, but could also be CSS. Could also be that I should load it in here, but we'll see if anything breaks. If it doesn't, it's fine. Okay, so now we can basically use a tooltip. So show, hide, custom content. Oh wow, that's really cool. Let's see. Let's look at, let's see what all the demos are. Oof. Custom styling. Show help, track the mouse video player demo. How does custom styling look like? Function, document, the tooltip, position. Oh, this is my line. Wow. Okay, let's start with the default. Which really just is this. But the question is, if you go over tooltips or theme roller, something needs to happen. This is relatively, how do you sort this out? So you have this function, and then in here, I see what they do. They have a link, and here as well. Yeah, okay, well. That's actually quite interesting, because this works completely differently. Like when you look at this, I dare say that this ignores the whole idea of a mouse over in the normal sense, because you just write tooltip and then all that stuff. will happen for you. Okay. Anyways, let's do this. Since I want you guys to be introduced by this type of stuff. But they do document.tooltip. We're not gonna do document.tooltip. That's terrible, right? So they do this, but like they select the whole HTML page in order to show the tooltip. I think that's bullshit. So I'm actually wondering what happens if you say this dot tooltip in here. We can now do this because we loaded in jQuery UI. I don't think anything will happen. Let's see. Yeah, nothing will happen. And that's because these things are don't have I think it's because they don't have a title in them. I wonder though if we can put a title element in here and that it would work. Oh yeah, it does. See? So it works with any tag. Did not know that. I thought it only worked on href, but that's why I test these things to make sure that I fully understand it. Yeah. Tooltip is going to attach any element, so any HTML element. When you hover over the element with your mouse, the title attribute is displayed in a little box next to the element, just like a native tooltip. But it's not a native tooltip. It can be styled any themes. It can be. Will also style tooltips accordingly. And here they show what they're useful for. So you need to have title attribute. Okay. Did not know. So, are you sure? So, let's make this simple. Button. Let's go back. So now we can add the tooltip button. Okay, wait. Button. Yes. Button. This thing, and then replace. Uh-oh. Now button. Yeah, there's no quick way that I'm seeing right now. Okay. So let's see if it works fully correctly. Interesting. See, so with the first hover over, it doesn't work. And I think that's because we're first checking for a mouse over. But I don't think, in this case, because it already checks for a mouse over, we shouldn't do it. So it should immediately just do this. Interesting. Now it doesn't do anything anymore. Oh Lord. Well, you can always do this, I suppose. This is, not gonna lie, this is a little bit odd. Okay, did not expect this for this to go so wrong. So you see, so the first time I hover over it, it didn't work, but then the second time it does. What actually happens? See, you get a mouse over, it doesn't work, and now it does. Which I find weird. But honestly though, what I find weirder is that I know this code should be executed the moment the moment I go over it, see? But now still only when I do it the second time. So that's why I pulled it out of here and put it here. But then you have to say button, because if you say this, then I think this is the whole document, whereas you only want to select buttons. Oh, now it does work. Huh? Why didn't this work before? So now only that tooltips, whereas you can also do this. You can do document, but I think it's a bit, you know, you're selecting the whole document. Whoa. And apparently you get a lot of errors. Okay. I guess that's another reason for why you should select only the items that you really want to select. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I guess we don't need the mouse over anymore then when we just want to do a tooltip. Anyway, so if you click, we are going to do something custom. Let's just say we are gonna say in a normal e-commerce site, I guess you would be redirected to an actual page, but here we're just gonna say that's immediately sold. So we're gonna select this and replace it with something else. jQuery replace. I think it's replace. Oh, here you see all the replaces. Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So this is, I think, inserting it before. See, and you see sold. Now you get this the whole time. And you click on it. Or you just want to replace it. So you can say before and then you can say remove. I think it's just remove. Not sure, but yeah. But I think this, it would be nice if this is centered aligned. So I'm gonna style it as such. Margin. Oh wait, I have to be a bit more clever about this. Margin. Really? Why don't you work? Do you have a style? Oh, wait. This is text. Sorry. Text. Align. Align. Text is the only difference. easy. Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. So I click on it and it becomes a bit bigger. Did you see that? And the tooltip stays. Oh dear. So when I click this, the tooltip doesn't remove itself. uh, um, well, I guess that's easily solved by just manually removing it, I suppose. Because let's see, it should be, no, it's not here. It should be happening here. Should something there should change. So when I click here, oh, it says area described by tooltip. When I leave this, you should still exist, shouldn't you? Yeah, div class tooltip. So since I know this class exists, I'm just gonna select it on it and also remove it. So did I notice what happened? No, but like this is how you solve the problems. You just look at what happens and then you code for it. So see, now it does get removed. Yeah, then there is the only question of this gets slightly bigger. How do you prevent that? No clue actually. Maybe what would maybe just by not having a P, because I think it enters. It's ugly though. Yeah, but see, like paragraph tag gives an enter. So I think if you want to be smart about it, since this is an inline element, yeah, so I think button is an inline, has normally a display inline. Can actually look at it if it does. And as you remember, a display inline element doesn't show and doesn't enter, right? Make enters. No, it's display block. In that case, yeah, it really just is. What if I insert it after? Well, I don't think it matters. Yeah, in both cases you get a bit of a, but do you get a bit? No, then it's fine. So yeah, how? Yeah, so the dirty way, well, not fully dirty way, but the non-semantic way of solving it is to make this a div. Because the div doesn't enter and the P does. Whoa, but that one did. That's fine. Oh yeah, I see why. So once all the buttons are gone, it also becomes different, as you can see, because the buttons have a different size. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. There's a way to code against it, but just leave it as is. Okay, so we now have that it's sold when you click on buy now. Maybe we want to do something different, right? So maybe instead of, let's see what we could want. Maybe we want to bid, right? Maybe we want to bid on the price. Um, And with that I mean change the price. So we could also make a form where you place the bid price, have a button which is a bid. Is that a thing you could do with jQuery? Want to do with jQuery? And when you press bid, or let's just say that we want to change this price. Let's just say, for simplicity, let's just say that. So you have a buy now button. Let's just say this is a special feature, so not all buttons have it. So class is change price, and then we have change price, example there. We're not going to do it there, we're going to do it on the first, that's easiest to test with. And we have an enter in between. Oh yeah, every button that you click. So now we do need to change all the other buttons. Oof. Button. Button. No, wait. What's easier? Button. Find all. Class is buy now. Finally. And then you go away. So now we do need to change the JavaScript code. We can't say button anymore. Here we have to say buy now. Because when we have that, this still happens, but this doesn't do anything anymore. So now we can also select for change price. Also an on click. And I would say when you want to change the price, you will insert a form field with a submit button. So since this is the only thing, you don't need to have this if statement anymore, by the way. And we don't need this anymore, so this is the complete code of that. Let's actually separate event listeners. So we want to insert after or before, it doesn't matter. We want to insert the following. We want to insert a form. We want to insert quite a bit. So let's make the enter as follows. Form. And when you do a backslash, that's kind of like Sublime is saying here, Melvin, this is not possible. When you do a backslash, you can enter text on a new line, a string on a new line. So let's do it nicely. So you have backslash here, and then backslash here, and that's basically how you do enters and strings. Form input type is text. Oh wait, since this is double quotes, this needs to be single. And input type is submit, value is send price, for example. Okay, and then end the form. So now we're inserting a whole form. There. So when I click change price, oh, it doesn't delete itself. Yeah, fair enough. And also it's not centered, so we do need to style it. Also single post margin. Let's see if this worked. No, it didn't. Let's try to see why. Center form CSS. Oh, do I need to give it a width? Is that it? So they gave the tip of inline, displaying it as an inline block. Inline block. Text align center. Text align. That works. Let's do that. Is that the case then for all inline blocks? Like that a text align center works for all inline blocks? I think so. Yeah, and then we remove it. So we have a this after, and then a this.remove. Right. So here you see this is an ugly thing, but we'll leave it for now. Now the question is, what I want to ask you guys, what do you think would happen if I put this remove here? I have an idea, but I honestly don't know if that's the case, but I think things will go wrong. Now, why do you think that? Pause the video, think about it, and when you unpause it, come back. It just removes. Now, the problem when you do this, right? So when you put it here, is this removes. But then the thing is, this doesn't exist anymore, because when I console log this, I always console log this if you don't know what this is. It says it's a button with the class change price. But after I remove this, then from this line onwards, from this line onwards, button doesn't exist anymore. So you can't insert this after the button because it's gone. Which is why the remove needs to be there. And then it does work. Okay. Also, you see it gets a bit bigger. Let's not be too concerned about that for now. You see how to code against it. You basically need to ensure that you have enough space already. So what I want to do is I want to type in 45 or something like that, and then when I click on send price, this thing changes. Now that's actually more difficult. How do I do that? You know, and especially because this HTML element doesn't exist yet. So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm also gonna give this a class. Change, submit, change, apply, submit. So that means I can select it with jQuery. I mean, yes, I know it doesn't exist, but it doesn't matter, right? I mean, if it doesn't exist, then it will just be ignored. Now, and this is also, this is an on-click. I suppose it is. Yeah, no it is. So to make sure it exists, I'm first going to console log the event. So make sure it exists. So refresh, open up. Is the console where I want to be? Yeah. So click on change price and click on send price. And it says navigated to blah 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 blah. So what I first need to do is I need to prevent, so normally a form, when you click on a form, it's always used to redirecting you to another link. Because normally with a form you also have like an action method, and then you say like post, and it has form action and the form form method. Wow. So you have like a link here, and then you have a form method, and that's post or get, right? Yeah. So basically, it normally, like if I say for example google.com, then it will redirect me to google.com. That's just the nature of the beast, right? So you need to make that stop. You basically need to tell the form like, hey, I know you want to do this, but for fuck's sake, don't. So you do that with a thing called prevent default. How do you notice? Looking at the documentation, or in my case, just finding it out the hard way. Apparently my internet is not working that well. And this is basically what you need to type. So and I press this, still navigates me. So I think that's because I need to, I'm clicking on the input, but I need to find the form, I think. Okay, maybe instead of doing this here, let's just do this on the form. But the form is not clicked. Is it? No, I don't think so. It's still being sent there. Prevent form from redirecting jQuery. Oh, yeah, it's a submit. Okay. Let's see. You must put the return inside submit call. Submit at click razor and submit send. Dot submit. Yeah, so I need to do form on submit, because that's the event where it's going wrong. Yet it still doesn't work. Why is that? No, still navigates. This is interesting. Let's see. Target. But this says not an on submit, but this one says an immediate, like this, dot submit. As follows. Well, let's try this. Not still triggers. Could it be, wait, actually let me test something. What if could it be the case that if okay, so let's say I put the same form here. Put the same form here. And I click on send price. Then it doesn't happen. But when I click on change price, then it does happen. Oh, I think I know what's going wrong. Yeah. But that's why I'm doing this, right? So that you guys can actually see the intricacies of development. So what is going wrong is the following. So when I click on the submit, the thing is this jQuery event listener, as they call it, already loaded, which basically means that it doesn't know this exists. So what we need to do is we need to insert this type of code the moment this gets loaded in. Add event listener yes to dynamically created element. That's the question we have. Right. Okay, so it says I need to use on submit, but then using on you can define your function once and it will execute for any dynamically added. For example, on click your selector. Static div. How about let's put, for convenience sake, document here, because it has to be static. We know the document exists. It's not really static, but static enough. Yeah, okay, now it works amazingly. I'm pretty sure then if you pull this away and put this here, then it shouldn't work, right? Because this is what I did. Yeah. But if I do this, wait, could I just then select nothing? Would that also work? No, that wouldn't. So I really do need to say document. Yeah, now it doesn't redirect me. So, well, I guess we all learned something here. Which is that you need to do this if you wanted to do it for dynamically created content, such as this form. Yeah, I'm really wondering if I'm doing it the right way by selecting the document. I mean, I know it works, but I'm really asking myself that. I think it's fine, but I just wonder what trouble you would run into. Anyways, just to show you, it wouldn't work if you don't have this. See, so you do need to have this code in there. So now we can actually put in a value and send it. So, and then send price, and then the idea is that this changes. So the first thing we need to do is if this gets clicked, right? Or if the submit happens, that we can actually console log the value. Wouldn't that be nice? So if we click on send price, we get a type submit. We see that the target is the form. Let's actually also, instead of only console logging the event, let's also console.log this, so that we see what this is. So this is the form. So, well, then it becomes quite easy, because basically then what you could say is to get var new price, right? So we're gonna have a new price, which is this price, is basically the first input value. So basically what you want to do is select this thing and get the value out of there. So the question becomes, we already have it here, so we select the form, we get it, then you could say children, yeah, that works, and then children 0 is, and then if I type in 550 children 0 the val, I suppose. Maybe I need to wrap it up in another jQuery thing. Yeah. Oh, this works. Okay. So, and then, so the trick is, instead of having this here, form is not form, but form is actually this. Because the reason why that is the case is because when we console logged this, we got the form, which is the same as this. So that's why you can replace that. If that's a bit too unclear for you, I would just recommend you to just replay this video and like just rewind it a bit and see. Yeah, just replay it. So we have the new price. Now let's try to change this. Now this becomes more interesting, because then the question is how do you change this? I have to, okay, I'm being interrupted right now, but this will be quick. To answer my lovely girlfriend, anything is fine. Anyways, let's get back to the lecture. So we already have a class price. So that means we can already select on the closest price, right? So that basically means you can traverse up. For example, you can say form dot closest price. No, does not seem to work. But that's interesting that it doesn't work. Because when I look here, this form is here. Dot closest would work. Maybe find? Well, you can always do siblings. Siblings should work. Because in siblings you have that. Could you then immediately select this? Yes, you can. So again, the trick is you're not selecting form, but you're actually selecting this. Now, why is that? Well, the reason is if you have multiple forms like this, then you don't know, you only want to select the element that you just clicked on or that you just submitted, right? Yeah, so and we're gonna change that text. So, for example, YOLO, right? And now this becomes YOLO. Now you can already see it becomes really easy to get the value because basically what you say is price plus new price. So if you don't do anything here, the price is this. But if you do this, this is the new price. And otherwise, this is the new price. Anyways, I'll leave it. Maybe it would be a good thing that if you click send price, you can only do it once or something. So, let's be a bit stylistic and say that you remove yourself after that. Change price. It is interesting now that the buy now here is lower than the rest, but that's because of the button change and because it was already on a different place, right? So I think a neater way to actually do this is to not have a change price here, but to have it here. I think you outline everything then. If you click here, and this goes, but then the button stays the same. Oh, I forgot the euro sign. Euro sign should be here. Yay. So that's how you get a butter for €1. Yeah. All right, I'll leave it until here. Yeah, this is like as you can see, this is completely different compared to the the jQuery that you saw in Code School in the sense that they showed you everything in a systematic way, and I'm basically showing you what happens if you actually try to code some jQuery, what problems you could run into, and how you solve them. Yeah, basically you saw me solving them by Googling a lot and Stack Overflowing a lot and thinking a lot. And yeah, the more knowledge you have, the better, obviously. I especially hope that the whole dynamic created content of why when you clicked on this, on this, and you click the send price, that it wouldn't do anything. Yeah, I hope that that you understand why it didn't do anything and why it does work now. Okay, as a final thing, one thing I still want to show you guys is a remove button. So let's make that for the second one, that you remove the whole card. So you have a button by now, and I'm also gonna have a button which says remove this boat. Remove boat does. Are you sure you want to remove this boat? Okay, so remove this boat. Ask yourself, how would you do this? You can I'm done typing this. You can pause the video and just ask yourself, how would you? Oh, it's there. That's fine. But there does need to be. How would you remove this boat? When you click on this. When you click on this boat is gone. The whole boat. Well, the question you need to ask yourself is, what do you need to select in order to remove it? It's actually quite straightforward when you think about it. You need to select the boat card because that's where the whole thing is in. Like, you can also just do it manually, right? You can, for example, select this element by inspecting it. Then you go to boat card. When you click backspace, the whole boat is gone. So that's one way of like almost physically verifying how do you remove this. Now, we already know how to remove stuff. We've done it quite a bit. So you basically need to find the nearest boat. So let's try this. Remove this boat. No? You don't exist. You should exist. Oh, it's remove boat. Oops. Remove boats. There you have it. Nearest. Is nearest a thing? I think so. Not totally sure. Do I care? No. Experimentation is easy and quick. No, nearest is not a function. How about if I say find? No. Oh wait, of course not. Find. And closest also doesn't work. Closest. Oh, it does. Closest does work. If I say remove, and it's gone. So that's basically how you do it. But only on click. So instead of having this, you have, instead of having this thing here, you have this, right? This up closest up boat card remove. And that's how you remove a boat. The whole boat and nothing but the boat. Remove this boat. Boom. So that's all I wanted to show you in jQuery. Yeah. My challenge to you is try to recreate this as well. Obviously this is the most difficult one, so you can do that for last. Or sorry, I mean this is the most, well, I guess the mix is the most difficult one, but like, yeah, just try to recreate it yourself. Use this code if you really feel stuck, but don't try to use this code because that's where you get the real practice in. Cool. Alright, see you guys. to this evening.